Oklahoma State has the best secret weapon heading into 2024. Oklahoma State also has the best 1-2 combo in the Big 12. Fight me if you want to, but stats, lives, they matter.
You are Locked On Oklahoma State, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Howdy, y'all, and hello, all. Welcome back to Locked On Oklahoma State, your daily stop for all things Cowboy and Cowgirl related. My name is Cody Stovall. I want to thank you kindly for stopping by. We're available on all of your podcasting platforms, visually as well on YouTube. Find me personally on X at AllDayOState. Today, we're partially brought to you by LinkedIn. Right now, every new potential hire feels like a high-stakes wager. That's why LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the right people for your team faster and for free. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege today. Terms and conditions do apply. So way back in the day, in April of 2009, a group of Texas A&M grads decided to break the internet. And since then, the idea of trick shots in every sport in a multitude of ways have become the new thing. They've become the norm. And thankfully now, it may not be dude perfect, but we at Oklahoma State, we have our own trick shot artist. And you guys have already heard me designate him as the best secret weapon entering 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome onto the show again, Mr. Hudson Kaak. How are we feeling, my guy?
How are you? Thanks for having me on. Good to be here.
Absolutely, buddy. You know I'm good. And I know as you guys are kind of getting around the spring break and taking a little bit of a break from the Body by Glass and everything in the offseason to get geared up for this season. Real quick, I just want to ask, man, where did you get the idea to start doing all this trick shot stuff?
Yeah, well, it's actually a funny story. When I went back to Australia, I filmed a little bit for Pokes with a Purpose, where we just had to talk about Pokes with a Purpose and everything that they do for us, and sort of encourage people to check them out and maybe donate and all that sort of thing. And I was at the lake in Australia with my friends, and we were filming this video for it. And they said, no offense, but this is kind of boring. Like, you're just talking and no one's going to watch this to the end. You need to do something interesting. So
Okay.
we had an idea, and my friend was on like the donut out on the water, probably, I don't know, 30, 40 yards out on the water. And they said, at the end of your spiel or when you finish talking, I'll throw you the ball and you just got to kick it out to him and he's going to dive off and catch it and jump into the water. And so we're like, yeah, why not? Like, we're obviously at the lake. It was a beautiful sunny day. It was the middle of summer in January. It was when I went back home after the bowl game. And so, yeah, we did that. And then a whole lot of people were just messaging me like, this is awesome. Like, this is really cool. People were asking me about it when I went down, around the football facility and stuff. So I was like, oh, why not? Everything's a little boring at this time of the year football wise. So why don't we just like put a bit of content out there for fans and for anyone who wants to watch it? And initially the idea came about, we'll just do one where we'll just kick it into the ring in Gallagher-IbaArena. And then, one thing led to another. That kind of blew up. It's got over 20,000 views and all that sort of thing. And so we just kept it rolling and kept doing different ones each week. And it sort of came from nothing, but yeah, it's pretty fun. It keeps us all entertained during the winter.
Well, it's definitely working. Like I said, I messaged you the other day. My daughter came to me and she was like, Dad, who's this guy? Do you know this guy? And I was like, yeah, I do. He's actually a punter at Oklahoma State. So do you come up with these ideas to do all these different shots, right? Because you've done off the roof of Boone Pickens Stadium. You've done some multiple trick shots now inside Gallagher-IbaArena.
Sure.
You've kind of bounced around. I do got to give a shout out. All right. And the video that my daughter showed me, Zane Flores did, in fact, drop a dime to the roof of Boone Pickens. All right, we got it. So speaking of Zane, do you get ideas from some of the guys, or a lot of it do you come up with on your own?
So yeah, look, Zane's been a big help with all of it, and he's my closest friend on the team. So he comes down and helps us film. He's been at every one except for one, I think. And so we sort of just get together, and Cole, the videographer that puts it all together for us, is a huge hand as well. And we usually have a bit of a brainstorm all together, and then we come up with what'll be the coolest thing. And we try to mix it up and not have them all, even though, in my opinion, the Gallagher-IbaArena ones are the fun ones, because getting it in the basketball hoop is like the most satisfying out of all of them. But
okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, we've tried to mix it up. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to use the stadium. Otherwise, we have some really cool ideas for the summer when the stadium's open and we're able to use it, that we can do in there. But yeah, so we just brainstorm, and each week we come up with a new one. And yeah, it's been really fun. And it's funny, like some of them that you think might be easier, they take a bit longer, and the ones you think are going to be super hard, they're I've got them pretty early. But I will say, like, sometimes, like, some of those trick shots I've thought, like, this, I might have bitten off more than I can chew here, but we haven't had to give up on one yet. So
there we go.
Eventually got there on all of them.
I love it. And so the new one will drop tomorrow, right? Pretty excited about that one. That one is not in Gallagher-IbaArena, though, right? That's a trick shot that's going to be outside, right? A little bit of a sneak peek there for you. Hudson's going to get outside and do some domination. Speaking of domination, buddy, I've said several times that you, in my personal opinion, go far beyond just a punter, which, by the way, the number one punter in the Big 12 from BYU graduated. The number 2 punter in the Big 12, Texas Tech, graduated. Both were on to the NFL. The number 3 punter was out of the conference. That means the number 1 ranked punter, according to Big12Sports.com, is Wes Pahl. Did you know that? And, you two are the only 2. Oklahoma State is the only 2 to have both in the top 15 for the 2023 season. So not only do we have the top punter returning, but we also have the top 1-2 combo in the Big 12. But this is outside of punting. We'll get to that in segment 2. But athletically, I've said to people, you cannot wait to dominate somebody. Now, you don't want anybody getting past your guys, of course, but when they do, you're ready to lay the wood. So let me ask you this. What would be the most satisfying this season? Punting one for 85 yards, which is the Big 12 record, laying somebody out Pat McAfee style and becoming trending, right, nationwide, or do you think it would be taken off on a fake for a touchdown?
They'd all be pretty cool. Yeah.
Big 12 record
they'd
punt,
all be
laying somebody out or take them onto the house.
They would all be really cool. But I feel like taking one to the house would be every punter's dream. And obviously it's like a thing that is like once in a blue moon. It doesn't happen too often. So I would say that, probably that. And then an 85-yard punt would be good, but the thought of actually being able to be physical and laying someone out would be probably the second for me. I miss the physicality of footy back at home. And so I think, obviously I don't want the returner to get that far where he gets to me, but if he ever does, I'll be licking my lips.
That is amazing, brother, man. All right. So, I've already covered athletically, why you're a rare, your size, your speed. There's not very many punters running around 4.5, 4.6, 40 range. Again, your transition from rugby still has an insane amount of athleticism built into you. So speaking of athleticism, we know you have the athletic side of the game down, right? But you and Rob Glass had a little bit of a formula in this offseason. So I do want to hit on some of that and what you were able to focus on thus far during the offseason. But real quick, I do have to let the fine people out here know today you've got to go check out Amazon Fire TV right here, right now. It's the best in the business for a reason, and it is going to give you the best opportunity to get hooked up with live sports and highlights and in-depth analysis. Fire TV is going to offer amazing viewership experiences with all smart TVs, as well as a Fire Stick TV that you can plug in to the existing television. Whether it's opening weekend for baseball or college basketball tournament, March Madness is about to be underway. You're going to want to have Fire TV for all this craziness. Fire TV recently created the Fire TV channels to deliver a constant supply, the latest videos of your favorite sports brands, all for free. That includes all of us here at the Locked On Network and most of the big pro leagues and college conferences as well. Fire TV channels let you dive into all the in-game analysis, highlights, and more. Whether it be March Madness, NBA, or Major League Baseball, with great news, entertainment, gaming, and travel on top of it, you got to go check out Fire TV channels and Fire TV on Alexa devices. If you haven't checked out Fire TV channels, you absolutely should. To learn more, visit Amazon.com/LockedOnFireTV. Again, that is Amazon.com/FireTV. We also got to mention Nissan with the right passion, drive, and performance to get you where you need to go to be the MVP. You got to check out the 2024 line of Nissan SUVs. We already know right now the Houston Cougars are very hot, but the Yukon Huskies, they could also be described as a big body beast of an armada. They're bound to be one of the top teams as they collide through the NCAA tournament. With all the favorites, you got to get in on the action now. Take the Nissan Rogue, the Pathfinder, or the big body beast Armada to go find your next big adventure. Shop NissanUSA.com. Again, that is NissanUSA.com. Shop there now to get your next big adventure started. All right, Hudson, as we bring you back into the fold, again, athletically, you are very rare as a punter. So with that kind of already under your belt, what was some of the things that you and the Body by Glass system kind of wanted to accomplish this offseason?
I think for me, it's mostly, so for starters, it's not rugby, it's Australian rules football. It's a little different.
Okay. My apologies.
I grew up playing, but it's the one that, I don't know, Mason Cox. I'm not sure if you've followed him much.
We know Mason Cox.
It's the one that he plays. So it's Australian rules football. It's not quite rugby, but it's athletically one of the toughest sports to play. But yeah, so the main thing that I've focused on for me is I've dropped 5.5% body fat, which is good. So I think when I got here, and because I was so used to running so much and not lifting as much, my body sort of took a while to adjust to everything, and I put weight on muscle wise, but I probably didn't trim down as much as I probably should have. That combined with America's food is a little harder to eat healthy, to be honest. But yeah, so this year I've stayed around the same weight, but I've trimmed down. I've gained muscle and lost body fat, so I'm feeling a lot more athletic than I was this time last year. Moving a lot better. And I've basically hit PRs in all the weight room. So my biggest thing for this off season was to get stronger, because coming in, weights and weight training wasn't really something that I did a whole lot of before. So yeah, I was able to basically hit PRs in almost everything we did in the weight room, which was really good. And that was one of my main focuses in the weight room for winter, because obviously you can crack in on it. You don't have a whole lot of other things to be working on. Like we punt and stuff, but we don't I have actual practice, if that makes sense. So it was a big off season in the weight room for me, and I'm really happy with how it's gone.
Now I know Wes Pahl has a very big leg, right? Because he's had some punts in Stillwater, 60 yards plus, right? So we know he has a massive leg, and that is great competition for you. Does your athleticism, your ability to ambidextrously roll right and punt or roll left and punt, does that kind of rub off on Wes and some of the other guys too? Do you guys have some fun with that?
Yeah, obviously Wes and I offer different things from each other. obviously Wes has got a huge leg, and he hits that spiral, gets that down the field. Whereas I'm very controlled, and I can put the ball exactly where we want it. And if we're facing, for instance, Xavier Worthy, when we played them in the Big 12 championship, they sort of lent towards me punting. I punted that whole game because they wanted the predictability of where the ball was going to land, and they didn't want him to have a chance to take it to the crib down the other end. And obviously when you're playing a dangerous returner like that, who doesn't really have any fear of just taking off and doing whatever you like, you want your flyers to be able to predict where the ball's going to go. So I think that's one of like my main strengths, obviously, as well as the pooch punting and putting it inside the 10 as much as I can. So yeah, obviously Wes and I offer different things, but it just depends on what the game requires. And another thing, this year was my freshman year, so the season just gone. So I guess it was an adjusting year for me, and it was like just finding my feet and trying to get comfortable out there as well. So obviously my biggest goal would be to take all the punts for the year, but it's just a work in progress. And as I said, we both get our strengths, and it just depends on what they're going for.
Well, you mentioned Xavier Worthy. I think that's another thing that, from an athletic perspective, that again you bring to the table that is pretty rare. Xavier Worthy is one of the fastest players ever to play in the Big 12. But again, I don't know of another punter that has your speed in the Big 12. Again, not that we want people getting to you, but every potential returner out there, just know when number 29's on the field, you better run just a hair faster. Rolling out right and left, right? This was a question from the viewers from the last time you were on the show that I've remembered since then, and that is, we know you can roll right and punt. We know you can roll left and punt equally effectively. We know you can roll right and throw. Can you roll left and throw?
I can roll left and throw, but I would throw with my right hand still. I'm left-handed. I'm right-handed and left-footed. So we actually, we like last season we had a few mock-ups that we had where I'd throw it.
Nice.
Unfortunately, we didn't get to use them in any of the game. We also had a couple where I'd run it, but I was so excited. We had one drawn up for the Big 12 championship game, and I was super excited. I was going to get to run it, and I was so pumped.
Well, hey, it's something that's ready in the bag for this coming season.
Yeah, well, yeah. So I'm so excited for the day that I get to do that, and because it's like I feel like there's an opportunity there for us to be able to catch some teams off guard, and not hopefully get the first down, but also get some yardage down the field as well. With the background that I've got, I feel like I've got a decent amount to offer with a fake. But yeah, it's I had just before we did the throwing one, I obviously very close with Zane, and he had me training we were working on it for 2 weeks leading up to it and getting the throw right.
That's awesome.
We didn't get to use it, unfortunately, but hopefully this season we can do that. Because then once you get a team once, it actually shows that you've got that on tape, and then every other team will be less likely to just go all out in one type of deep, whether they're all coming all at you or whether they're doing so. Right. It'll actually take the pressure off every other punt going forward because teams will be more on a safe defense. So hopefully early in the season, or at some stage we can throw that out there, but yeah, we'll see what happens.
Well, early in the season does make sense, right? Because when you take into consideration the first 3 games of the year, you got South Dakota State, right? A team that's won back-to-back FCS national titles. They've won 29 games in a row. That's hard to do air against nobody, right? If you went up against a scout team, you might not win 29 times in a row. So it's absolutely insane that they're coming into town. That's not going to be an easy game. Therefore, we're not going to be able to, not show a lot of the playbook. Typically your first few games, you want to show as little as possible, right? And do, if you can win off of 5 plays, great, right? That opens things up for the future. When you have South Dakota State, Arkansas, and Tulsa, that's 3 games where you're not going to be able to really do that. Those are 3 very, very competitive teams where I do expect us to run a normal show without kind of holding too much back. Yeah. So you might get an opportunity to use it pretty early, buddy.
Yeah, hopefully. And, if it was up to me, we'd do it every game. That. But yeah, so I think that might work out as a benefit for us that we're playing those tough teams up first.
Yeah.
Because there's no easing into it. There's no no excuses for the first few games. And I think obviously last year we were finding our feet. We had a whole bunch of new guys. And I think there was a bit of like, oh, it's all right, we'll beat these teams. Like, we just need to get ready for Big 12, which, other than South Alabama, it was right. We did beat the first 2 teams. But I think this year it's going to be like there's no taking it easy or holding back from the first one. We're just going to crack in from the start. And hopefully we'll have a better start to the season than this year. And plus, if we can be 3-0 after those first 3 games, that gives us the world of confidence going forward, because we've beaten an undefeated side for however many years they are. We've also beaten an SEC team, and then Tulsa's no easy beat either. So I think if we can go into the Big 12 conference games with undefeated, then we'll take a world of confidence from that as well. So I think it's really important for us to start off good.
Yeah, like I said, we know about South Dakota State. We know that Arkansas, they were a little bit down this year, but you're still talking about an SEC roster, right? So the offensive line, defensive line, even if they're not quite as talented as us, they will be as big as us. They will be as strong as us. They will be as fast as us. So there is opportunities. And then you just mentioned Tulsa. Tulsa's got a bunch of former Cowboys that actually played significant snaps in Stillwater, right? They've got a bunch of former OU players. They've got some players that have transferred in from the SEC. Tulsa's not going to be an easy game. And then we get Utah to begin Big 12 play.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, the beginning of the season's going to be a wild ride. And like you said, is it going to beat us up a little bit more than most year non-con? Absolutely. But it's also going to have us more prepared, I think, in the latter half of the season than most everybody else too. So you got to take the good with the bad.
Yeah, and I think we have been lucky this year that we've got to buy at a better time of the year, more towards it, because the last couple times we've had buys early, and that's not when you need to buy. You need to buy when you've been on a tough run and all that sort of thing. So well, I think
look at you learning. That is huge, man. Bye week timing is very big. And it's something that doesn't really get talked about all that often. But when you have a bye week early, it is never a good thing, because your injuries don't typically happen till later.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think we're set up to have a really good year. Obviously, we've got a very experienced team this year, and just from the feel around the place, the leadership is really good, and everyone's really bought into what we can achieve this year. And I'm really excited to, even though it's a while away still, I'm really excited to see what the team can put together, even over the spring. I think I'm really optimistic about everything. And I think last year, the finish of the season, once we went on that run, and what we were able to achieve from where we were, gave us a lot of confidence. And I think we can hopefully take that into the next season, and we'll see what happens, but I'm pumped up.
Well, okay, that's a pretty daggone good segue, because now we're going to talk about the 2024 season, just kind of implications, what it means, expectations, all that fun jazz. But before we do that, buddy, got to stop in here and make sure that everybody out here knows that regardless of how crazy the hiring landscape is, because the job market, it is wild, right? And it does make life unnecessarily difficult at times. LinkedIn is your solution. That's why several companies ranked LinkedIn Jobs #1 in providing the right tools and qualified candidates for you. It is not just another run-of-the-mill job board. They have a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals that makes it the best place for you to hire. It gives you access to professionals you cannot find anywhere else. LinkedIn does all of that while making the process super easy and intuitive. Hiring is so easy that 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within the first 24 hours. LinkedIn knows that small businesses are wearing so many different hats and trying to navigate so many different layers of ridiculousness, and it takes away time and resources. So when it comes to hiring, get LinkedIn and use LinkedIn to your benefit. 2.5 million small businesses are using LinkedIn for hiring. So should you. Post your job for free today at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That is all one word. Again, linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. Post your job for free today. Terms and conditions do apply. The terms and conditions on the 2020-24 season for Oklahoma State are massive. Matter of fact, as we've had several discussions, I've never heard of or been around anybody that's ever heard of anywhere at any level having 20 or even 21 when you consider Lyric Rawls of your 22 starters coming back. With that in mind, Hudson, you just mentioned that the focus this season is different than last season. Last season that you guys were able to learn some things through maybe some complacency, right, in the first few weeks of the year. This year you have several returning seniors, right? Not only that, you have a bunch of 6th year, 7th year style of seniors as well. What in the locker room just does feel different already from last season?
I think last year offered, obviously it was my first year, so I didn't really have anything to compare it to at the time, but I think we had 36 or something new people on the team. So it was a whole new, last year it was an off season of getting to know each other, getting to know how each other plays and what roles people can do. We also had obviously a new defensive coordinator as well. So that it was really just a season of coming to terms with what we've got and how we can best use it. Whereas this season, it's like we know what we've got, we know we're good at it, and we know that the leadership around the place is as strong as it's felt for me the whole time. Obviously, the whole might be mistaken, but basically the whole starting offense is coming back. Definitely like the line and obviously quarterback and everything. Yep. The competition for spots is obviously everyone's super motivated and competitive, and there's no they're not just handing out spots because they got it last year. It's everyone's trying to push each other really hard. And you know, just as a bit of an insight, the type of thing that we've got going is we do in the winter workouts, we do a bunch of 200s at the end of our Thursday running sessions in the morning, agility stations in the morning. Okay. The big fellas do 20s, and the rest of the team do 200s. And we had 6 or 7 200s, and the linemen had just like flying 20s where they have to just do repetitive efforts of 20-meter sprints or 20-yard sprints, sorry. But then this is like voluntarily all the linemen, once they'd finished their 20s, came and finished off the sets of 200s with us. And just seeing that, and like no coach told them to do that. No one wanted them to do that. They did that on their own because they're motivated, and they saw the exertion that we were all going through because we're running the 200s and they're not easy and they're sprints. So it's they saw us all going through that, and they're like, oh, we don't want to just sit there and watch that. They joined in and they went through it, pushed through it as well. And obviously for those guys who are, you know, 300 plus pounds, all of them, yeah, is like, it's a really cool thing to see that they're volunteering to do that, to put the effort in. And it's just a really close group at the moment. And I'm really excited to see what we can do, because I've never been in a team environment that's so motivated in my life.
Well, that is very refreshing for everybody in Cowboy country to hear, because I can tell you, man, you know, I've been a diehard my entire life. My mom will tell you my second word was Oshu. Okay. And when it comes to anticipatory seasons, this year is easily top 3, right? No questions asked. 1946 was pretty anticipatory because went undefeated in 45. 2018 was pretty anticipatory because after 2017, we had the announcement of James Washington coming back, Mason Rudolph coming back, Marcel Aitman, Tyron Johnson, all these big time guys coming back. And then 2021, right? We go on this Big 12 title run. We literally end up 6 inches short of a Big 12 title. Yeah. And 2022 was very anticipatory, but a massive regression. When you think of the top times of Oklahoma State seasons, I'm telling you, buddy, this 2024, if it's not the most anticipated ever, it's at least top 2 or 3. Can you feel that around campus? Can y'all feel that in the locker room? Not necessarily pressure, but just the fact that y'all belong and everybody wearing orange knows we belong.
Yeah. Look, I think it's a bit of a mix. There is no one internally that's saying like putting any pressure on anyone to do this or this, but I just think it's more our team knows what we're capable of. Our seniors know what we're capable of. Glass and Gundy are also just reiterating to everyone that, you know, if we can put the work in, there's no ceiling on what we can achieve. Especially with, you know, the 12-team playoffs and, you know, just getting all the boys ready. We're all, you know, pretty fit at this stage. I don't think we have too many major injuries at this point. So I think it's really, it's a really positive feeling around the place, and the leadership is strong. And, you know, all those guys who decided to come back for an extra year, they didn't come back just because. They wanted to come back because they know this team's capable of winning and we can do something pretty special. So I think it's really just everyone's really driven to get the absolute most out of this group. And we're all really excited to see what we can achieve.
That is a phenomenal answer, man. Like I said, I'm excited. I know a lot of Orange faithful are very, very pumped. It seems to be that the feel inside the locker room is beyond Arlington, right? Okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but everybody knows that y'all. It's I don't know. Every year you want to win the Big 12 title, absolutely. But this season is a little bit different. It's not just we need to get to the Big 12 title. We have some retribution, right? We lost it in 2021. We lost it last year. This is the year to win the daggone thing. But regardless, everybody's anticipating Arlington. Is there at least a decent feeling for you that you guys expect to do more than Arlington to be part of this first 12-team playoff?
I think at least the language around their place is that, you know, if we can put the work in and we need to go and take the Big 12 championship, we're not just going to roll in and just, you know, we've been there twice out of 3 years and we've been so close, and we're not just no one's going to give it to us. No one's going to give it to us because even if we're the best team in the Big 12, it's like we got to go in there and take it. It's ours. If we have the drive and the work ethic and all that sort of thing to take it, we can go and take it. And then once, you know, if we can do that, then, you know, there, as I said, there's no ceiling on what we can achieve. I think the Big 12 champion, you would assume, would be in the 12 team playoffs. So I think if we can go there and just take it one step at a time. But yeah, as I said, there's really, you know, it's you can't put a cap on what we can achieve if we can continue this motivation and drive and take what we want rather than just trying to win it. Like it's a different sort of mentality to go about it.
I absolutely love it, brother. I love it. I mean, Hudson, I greatly appreciate your time. I know you've been pretty daggone busy with everything. So again, I greatly appreciate it. Get some relaxation, get some rest. We're excited to see the trick shots continue to matriculate down the road. Hey, and tell Zane, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to get mixed up in some fun trick stuff. I know that y'all can come up with something together that's pretty unique and pretty bad.
Yeah, well, just keep an eye out because we got some stuff coming up where we're hopefully going to get some other players involved and maybe some players from other sports and stuff involved to do some, basketball, tennis, golf sort of trick shots and stuff as well. So just keep an eye out. I think we're going to be working on that through the summer, just to keep everything ticking along.
That is a brilliant move and a brilliant idea. All right, buddy. Well, hey, thank you very, very much for your time. Let everybody out here, Cowboy Country, know what you got coming down the pipeline, how they can get a hold of you, and how they can go get some number 29 gear, buddy.
Yeah, so obviously you can follow me on Instagram and X and TikTok or whatever it may be. All my username's the same. It's just my name, no spaces. And yeah, obviously you can jump on OSU merchandise and you can find anything you like. But yeah, don't be shy to shoot me any ideas of trick shots you want me to try and all that sort of thing, because we're always keen to try some new things.
You heard it. You heard it. Let me down in the comment section. What are some good ideas for Hudson to do, and maybe even from other sports perspective, who would you maybe like to see Hudson get in a Cowboy jersey and have some fun with? All right, brother, man. Hey, man, this season's going to be absolutely insane. I cannot wait to be down there for the spring finale. So, yeah, man, get your rest. Continue the trick shot thing. I know that everybody's watching. And you are right. It's a little bit slow for football season, football news. So, yeah, it's been a breath of fresh air for everybody to stay in touch and have some fun. So thank you very, very much for that. And everybody out there, make sure you go get some number 29 gear. I know I am, right? I'm gonna get the family fit up, buddy. I'll see you soon enough. Thank you very, very much for your time, boss man.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. Always good.
Yes, sir. All righty, y'all. Well, that's all we're going to have for this one right here. We've got a lot of guests lined up, current players, former players. We're going to do some stuff after the pro day in Frisco, Texas. Stay tuned. We're going to have some fun. All righty, y'all. You know the drill. I love you. As always, God bless. Go Pokes. Thank you for tuning in to make this your first listen. We're available on all of your podcasting platforms. Get a linked up. Go leave the review. Go hit the stars. If you're getting 5-star, leave the 5-star. Like it if you like the daggone thing. Dislike it if you don't, because that's okay too. All righty, y'all. Later, taters.